Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to Power Rangers deck building game. This is for the Flying Higher expansion, based around the In Space Rangers. I don't know if actually are called anything special like that. So this is this is not a standalone expansion. It requires either the Mighty Morphin base game or the Zeo base game to play. But it's gonna add some new elements to the game, some nice, fun, interesting stuff, much like the other expansions have done. So we'll kind of flip through the instruction book here quick, and we'll see what they add. And they're stucking together. Alright, so the setup is basically this. So it's not, just like that. So what you're going to do is basically it's saying, what you want to do is in the base sets, every hero, villain, equipment, and maneuver card each had 2 copies of each. So what they recommend you doing is just removing one of them and adding one of each of these in there, because there's one of each of these. So you're just eliminating duplicates and adding in a second set of cards. So you're going to keep the same amount of cards. It says if you want to mix and match stuff from other sets, feel free to do so, but just try and keep it at about 80 cards or fewer. Just because if you have too many, you're not going to draw all of them, and plus then it kind of also defeats the time limit of the deck running out. But yeah, so like after you play this a few times with just the Flying Higher set, you could add stuff from Omega Forever or RPM if you want. Just also realize that as you add stuff from the other different sets, it's also, if you take too many, if you only add like 3 cards from this set, 3 cards from RPM, 3 cards from Omega, and then some from Zeo, if you mix all 5 sets together, you're going to have less opportunities to hit the special effects that these cards do. So just something to keep in mind. Also says for the Fuse Burst games, recommend using only the heroes and villains and Astro Blasters from these sets. So if you're going to play like this, just kind of use all these characters. And after you've played this and you've got familiar with how the new mechanics work, you could always swap out, like, I could use, if I'm playing, one Space Ranger and one Mighty Morphin Ranger, so on and so forth. And use the Astro Blasters, which replace the Blade Blasters or Zeo Blasters, or your basic cards, because they specifically work well with these characters. Also recommend you don't add any additional Master cards other than the sets, just use these 5. So this also has a special mode in there with Zordon and the Dark Spector. So this is also a neat different alternate game rules, which we'll kind of jump into when we get there. So the new concept in here is search. So part of In Space revolves around searching for things. So players may perform one search during each of their turns and may perform an additional searches if a card allows. To perform a search, flip the top card of the main deck face up during your turn. When you search, you may be subjected to a surprise attack. If you're a hero player, you reveal a villain with an attack ability, resolve that attack against yourself. If a villain player, reveal the villain ability, or hero, if you reveal a hero or a villain with an attack, resolve the attack. So that's kind of interesting, because heroes only get attacked by villains, but the villains can essentially be attacked by anybody, because it's kind of, I don't want to say, it's kind of say that their loyalty isn't all there. They're not sure who all the villains are. Search attacks do not use energy, they do not cost anything. Basically, you do whatever the effect says as best as you can, targeting yourself. That's more or less what they say. If you have survived the search attack, there's no one if there is one, you may buy it. If there is one, you may buy that card and reveal it, no matter what the card type is. If you don't wish to buy an adversary, reveal it this way. You may instead battle it as if it were in the grid. So basically, if the attack comes up, so their example is, let's say Bulk and Skull pop up, and they had attack, skill, 2 energy. So you're gonna lose 2 energy unless you bought this attack. Now it doesn't cost any energy to play this; you're just taking that effect. Now then, once you survive the attack, so if you defeated it or you haven't died from it, either way, now you have the option of either buying this card for 2, or you could choose to pay the 3 on the bottom to defeat it and heal it. Heal for 2. So you get the 2 different options. And then no matter what it is, if it was something else, like if it was a technology or an equipment card or maneuver location, you can just buy it. If you don't, it just stays face up. So it says, if you buy the revealed card, you may immediately attach it to your character if you have an empty slot. Heroes and villains bought by search may be attached to either hero or villain slot. So it's kind of interesting too. So if you defeat a villain, you buy a villain, you can put it on your hero character. So it gives you a little bit different options using this rule to like let you basically purchase other cards you wouldn't normally be able to get. Buying certain cards via search, add or remove conquest tokens from Dark Spector. So it's after filling the grid at the start of your turn. If the top deck of the main card is split face up, so if you revealed it but you didn't pay for it, you have to discard it into the main deck. This means no new cards enter the grid. Via search, the previous player's turn goes away. So if you buy the card, great, and then if you didn't buy anything else, then nothing happens. But if you reveal the first card and it's face up, that means it just goes away. So it can sit there. There's a bunch of these additional rules. So basically, it's saying here, more or less, is that you can play blocks to block an attack. But only person that can block the attack is you. If it says it attacks multiple people, it only attacks you. So basically, it's just you're ignoring most of the effects of the attack except for what it does, and it's only targeting you, and then you can block it. And if it says you have an ability that says perform a search, grants a search in addition to your free search that turn, and must be resolved immediately. Alright. So it's kind of a fun little extra mechanic, and then there's kind of explaining how all that works. And there's Dark Spector. He's trying to win the game, which we'll look at that right here. So we have Dark Spector card. Says, whenever a player buys or gains a master, put a conquest token on Dark Spector. So as the villain buys more bad things, this guy gets closer to winning. It says when a villain plays or buys a hero, villain, or location they revealed via search, they put a conquest token on Dark Spector. So if they buy any of those three cards, they corrupt a hero, they bring a villain, or they basically conquer a location, they get another conquest token. But if a hero plays or buys a location they reveal, you can remove one conquest. So basically, if you save a location, you get to remove one. That's the only way for you to remove conquest tokens from them. So basically, you want to try and defeat them other things before the villain can get them. And it says, if there are 5+ conquest tokens, a player pays 1 less energy to activate the character's ability, also pays 1 less to activate blocks, whether attached on their character, and at 10 conquest tokens, they win the game. So it's a very difficult win condition. Now, you could choose to not use this at all if you don't want to. It's not going to really affect the game. You can play a game as normal, or you can just essentially add this as a boss mode. I don't think there's any cards that directly reference it, but I might be wrong. Then on the other side is you have Zordon. So this also makes the game harder. But now, optionally, I guess you could play just Dark Spector or just Zordon. But you're supposed to play them together. So if you're playing one, you should play the other. Heroes start at 15. Start the game with 15 energy. Have a max energy. So normally you don't start with much energy. I don't remember exactly what you start with off the top of my head. But here you start with a lot of energy to use. But the problem is you can't hit your maximum of 20. So you have a limited maximum. But if it ever drops to 0, they lose. So you have to watch for stealing abilities. And then you also have a last resort. You can sacrifice, this is the Z-Wave here. You can destroy 2 cards attached to your character to remove Zora from the game. Each foe discards all their villains and master attached to their character, then removes 2 conquest tokens from Dark Spector. So this is another way to remove all that stuff, but basically you have to sacrifice Zordon to do it. Although it does let you then play back up to 20 energy. So it's kind of, so it's sort of like, hey, we could win, but like, is it really winning? We had to sacrifice our ally to do it. Yep, then there's just some other stuff in there. So things you can mix and match. some card-specific stuff, which I'm not going to go over, and then all the different awesome people that worked on this game from Renegade Studios. Alright, let's hop in and look at our cards. Well, we're going to get these Conquest tokens. There's 10 of them. So we'll have those guys. Then let's look at our Rangers. So we have Andros, who uses Maneuvers and Heroes. So he's Teenager. So like all of them say, when all 4 slots are filled, attach your Zord to his card bay, and flip this card over. Pay 3 to perform a search. You may battle pay 1 less shard to buy or battle that revealed card. So you just do stuff easier. And then his Ranger version, Red Space Ranger. Shuffle the main deck, then perform a search. Attack, deal the damage equal to the cost of the revealed card. So it's kind of fun. You get to perform that search, plus you get to attack somebody else as well. We have Carlos Valeriti. Says 3, your turn. Your attacks deal +1 damage this turn, so you're going to use some maneuvers and equipment heroes. He becomes Black Space Ranger. Deal 3 attacks, and each one deals 1 damage. You can kind of spread them out. Makes him hard. Doesn't do a lot of damage, but it requires 3 separate blocks. Then we have LT Johnson. Pay 2 and discard 1 card to block. Negate an attack. You may use this ability once during each player's turn. This would be great to help out, especially the ones that pop in them search attacks. Then we have the Blue Space Ranger. Pay 3. Your next attack this turn cannot be negated. Ashley Hammond, pay 4 to draw 1 card. Uses equipment and heroes. Yellow Space Ranger. Reveal the top card of your deck. You may activate its ability at no cost or draw it. So that's definitely fun. Then we have our 5th Ranger. We have Cassie Chan. Heal 2 HP. And then attack, deal 1 damage for every 6 HP you have. If you have 5 or fewer HP, deal 5 damage instead. Yeah, definitely cool. Healing and then turning around doing damage, drawing cards. They kind of have like opposite abilities. Then we actually get a 6th Ranger in this set, which is really cool. So we have Zane. Destroy 1 card in your discard pile. And we flip them over. It's the Silver Space Ranger. Destroy a random card in target player's discard pile if there are 4+ cards in that discard pile. Yeah, that's cool. You just destroy his own or destroying opponents. There's a bunch of different Rangers. I love that they have the 6th Ranger in there. Definitely fun. It'd be also fun to sit there and compare all the different Rangers from different sets at some point. Like, how do all the Red Rangers compare to each other? How do all the Pink Rangers? So on and so forth. Alright, then let's look at our bad guys. So we have Astronema, who is a scheming. At the start of your turn, for every 2 conquest tokens, gain 1 crystal for every 2 conquest tokens on Dark Spector. So, like right here, she's going to be 1. So if you're not using the Dark Spector mode for some reason, she's basically not going to be useful. So that might make the difference on whether you want to use her or not. Attack, deal 1 damage for each conquest token on Dark Spector. We have Ecliptor. When you attach a card to your character, steal 1 energy. Ooh, boy. And that, again, can be very powerful against this set when you're using that Zordon, because you're stealing that energy from Zordon. That could give you a quick victory. Foes pay 2 additional energy to activate blocks against attacks made this turn. So you can see how these guys work really well with that, the Dark Spector Zordon mode. Dark Honda. When you're revealing equipment via search, gain it. And attack, deal 2 damage for each equipment in your discard pile. Then we have two really fun ones. We have the Psycho Rangers, who are like evil alien versions of the Space Rangers. You may buy heroes from the grid. When you do, resolve the battle reward. When you exhaust a hero, exhaust it. So yeah, they actually have borders that have heroes, villain on them. So they're actually trying to essentially kidnap heroes. And then they turn into this side, their empowered side. They have attack, deal 2 damage for each hero attached to your card. And so normally you can only get 2 because you have a hero on each side, but you could potentially gain a third one in the villain slot if you do the search aspect and you find a hero because you can attach it to a villain slot. Then the final one's definitely cool as well. The United Alliance of Evil. This is the villains from the previous sets. So we have, of course, Rita and Zed in the middle here, and Goldar and Finster, all from Lady Morphing. We have Divatox and King Mondo, who are from Turbo, and Divatox is from RP. Should I be from RPM? Or Zeo and Turbo. So basically, like the villains from the first couple of series are all joining together under the watch of the Dark Spector, and that's kind of why he's not a playable character. When you play this or attack a villain, deal 1 damage. When you play or attack a villain. Let me have a little bit better picture of the bunch of them. And it says, attack, deal 1 damage for each villain you control. This is all villains. Then we have the 2 big cards of the Zordon here. So again, remember, if you start with 15 or more energy, and cannot have more than 15. When you hit 0, you lose. And then his special, and then Dark Spector. So these guys are all big cards. So before I jump into all the small ones, just want to point out, I don't have any sleeves with me, but if you decide to sleeve these cards, this is a good way to start with. Their Sleeve Kings is called the Hogwarts Battle Compatible size. They're 76mm by 102. You get 110. So if you buy 1 pack, it'll definitely cover all your Power Rangers games. I am out because I also work for the Transformers games as well as all the DC deck building games, so I have a lot more to sleeve. So I gotta have to restock. But yeah, just something you might want to pick up if you like to sleeve your oversized cards. Plus, if you get the bonus packs, they also come with big cards for every one of those as well. Alright, let's jump into our small cards. We have 12 copies of the basic card, Astro Blaster, which gives you 2 shards. Says, you may destroy this card to activate your attack signature item at no energy cost, then you may discard it. Or pay 0 to block. Negate a search attack, then discard this card. So that's kind of fun. It's basically a free block for all your search attacks. So that way, if you do have that, you're searching, you find something you can't deal with, you can go ahead and negate it. And then also the fact is you can destroy it to activate your signature item at no energy cost, and then you may discard it. So yeah, if you can't afford that big giant cost right now, you can use this just to use that ability earlier on. So it's definitely a fun thing. I wonder, it might be something I'll have to test out at some point, is I wonder what would happen if you took a bunch of the different basic cards and you just shuffled them together so you didn't know what set you were getting one from instead of only using one set. Just see how chaotic that might be. That might be kind of fun. Because lots of different sets have different ones. Alright, now let's look at our character cards, our main deck cards. We have heroes. We have 1 copy of each of these. We have Bulk and Skull, which we looked at earlier, which will attack to steal 2 energy. We have our Black Space Ranger, so they're going to go up in increasing cost. Kind of mirrors his oversized card. Deals 1 damage, attack deals 1 damage. Silver Space Ranger. Deal 3 damage if you have no starter cards in your discard pile. This attack cannot be negated. So it's going to deal 3 damage. Then if you have no starter cards, it cannot be negated. So it's kind of cool. Pink Space Ranger, deal 4 damage. If negated, heal 2 HP. Blue Space Ranger, attack target foe, discards 1 location they control. then takes 1 damage for each location they control. That's actually kind of fun because they're trying, like in this set, the thighs, they're trying to get those locations. So, hey, punish them for getting them. Red Space Ranger, attack, deal 3 damage. If negated, the blocker gains 1 stun. And then finally, the Yellow Ranger. Yellow Space Ranger, draw 1 card and reveal it. Attack. Attack deals damage equal to its cost. And there's in a bomb, you have stuff like this you have to worry about. I didn't really look at those too much, but we have, if a villain defeats it, put 1 conquest on Dark Spector. So for a couple of different Rangers, they all gain that. Just the 2 big ones. So, yeah, that's something to keep in mind, too, that could happen. So, not just you have to worry about the villain character buying stuff or defeating stuff, you also have to worry about doing that. They beat this card, which they could do during a search as well if it's on the table. They could gain some tokens that way. Then we have the villains. We have Quantron Bot. Attack target foe gains 1 stun. I love this for 2 reasons. 1, of course, just extra characters, but 2, because they add the word bot, which works well with the RPM set, because there's a villain in there that gets more powerful every time there's a bot played. So adding bot to some other villains here and there just makes it adding it with that set a little bit more fun. We have Finster. So attack, steal 2 energy. Golgar, attack. Target foe discards 1 attached to block card. Divatox, attack, deal 3 damage, plus 1 damage for each location your team controls. Vita Repulsa, deal 2 damage to target foe for each empty slot in their character. If this deals plus 6 damage, discard this card. King Mondo, attack, deal 5 damage. If negated, the blocker discards 1 card. And Lord Zed, attack, target foe gains 2 stuns. If negated, discard this card. Now, I don't think any of them, none of them let you remove conquest counters. So, yeah, the only way you can do that is by buying them locations. But yeah, this is a really fun set as well because it's more Space Rangers, but you also get to play with all the villains from the past, which we didn't have in this deck, so now you can add them and mix them with the other sets. So that is definitely fun as well. Alright, then we're going to look at our equipment. We have star charts. Peek at the top card of your main deck. You may put it in the bottom of the main deck or leave it, then you may perform a search. So it's kind of fun. You can look at your top one. Hey, it's something I either want to buy or something I can afford to defeat, or it's not an attack I don't have to worry about. Or, nope, I can't deal with it, get rid of it. And then you still have the option to search after that. So if you saw it, something you want, search it and grab it. Or get rid of it and then take the risk on the next card. Heavy Armor, attach, reduce the damage from attacks against your team by 1. That is fun. The Galaxy Glider, block, negate, search, attack. Master Computer, gain the top card of the main deck if it's face up. Force Field Grenade, block, negate, an attack against you and or your teammate. Draw 1 card, then discard this card. And then the Mega Tank, block, negate, an attack, deal 2 damage, then discard this card. And our final equipment is Laser Eyes. Destroy a card in your discard pile. Attack each target foe discards 1 card. If negated, discard this card. We have some maneuvers. We have Hollow Projections. Block, negate, and attack. Draw 2 cards, then destroy this card. Energy Absorption. Attachment. When your team takes plus 3 damage from an attack, gain 1 energy. Booby Trap. Block, negate, and attack. Deal 3 damage. Then discard this card. A lot of blocks in this set. Close Quarters. Destroy a card in your discard pile. Deal damage equal to its shard cost. Snap Kick. Attack. Target foe discards 1 attack card. If negated, deal 2 damage and discard this card. They have the catchphrase, let's rock it. block, negating attack. You cannot be the target of any more attacks this turn. Then discard this card. And let's go Psycho. Attack, deal 3 damage for each character attached to your character. Does not match the card type listed in its slot. If negated, discard this card. This is kind of saying, it's kind of neat. So I was like, especially like the Psycho Rangers, because they can put heroes on there, but you could put villains in those hero slots if you got them via search. So you can deal more damage. It says may attach to any color slot on a Psycho Ranger. So that's kind of cool as well. So a little extra effect if you get that. You can also put them in one of them other ones. Then we have some locations here. We have Angel Grove Surf Spot. Ongoing, pay 2 less energy to active abilities on your character card. K035. Ongoing, at the start of your turn, if your team has 6 or less energy, gain 4 energy, otherwise gain 1. We have Onyx. When you search, peek at the top 2 cards of the main deck. Place one back face down and the other face up. And Dark Fortress. When you successfully battle a card, you may remove 1 conquest token on add or remove 1 conquest token on Dark Spector. So yeah, so far there's only been like what? 3 like Divatox, her oversized card, couple of the 2 Ranger cards with their defeat abilities, and then this card has actually had anything specifically to do with the Conquest tokens or Dark Spector. So it's like, it's easier, hey, I can just remove them 3 or 4 cards if I don't want to worry about them or ignore them couple abilities. So they didn't make a ton of it. They have the search mechanic that's heavy in here though, which it should be. Alright. Then we have Zords. The Ranger Zords are, for Red Ranger, we have Mega V1. Draw 1 card for each search you have performed this turn. Mega V2 for the Black Ranger. Attack, deal 1 damage, attack, deal 1 damage. Mega V3 for Blue Ranger. Block, negating attack. If it's a search attack, redirect it to target foe. That is fun. Mega V4 for Yellow. Reveal the top card of your deck and then discard it or draw it. If you discard it, attack, deal damage equal to its shard value. Mega V5 for Pink. Deal 1 damage for every 5 HP you have. If you have 4 of your HP, deal 4 damage instead. And then this Mega Winger for the Silver Ranger. Deal 2 damage, plus 2 damage if you have destroyed a card this turn. So of course they all work very well with their Rangers. The Masters are Astronema. Ongoing, at the start of your turn, deal 1 damage for every 2 Conquest tokens on Dark Spector. Ecliptor. Ongoing, at the start of your turn, the heroes lose 1 energy for every 2 Conquest tokens on Dark Spector. Darkonga. At the start of each of your turns, perform a search and then attack. Damage equal to the shard value revealed. These Psycho Rangers get once during each of your turns, you may pay 2 to attack. Deal damage equal to the cost of the hero attached to your character. And then the United Alliance of Evil. At the start of your turn, deal 1 damage for each villain attached to your character. So again, couple that really rely on Dark Spector or Conquest tokens. But again, overall you could ignore them if you don't want to play their role. Or you could just add them into every game anyhow. Make every game a little bit harder. Then finally, we will have signature weapons. So Red Ranger gets the Spiral Saber. Deal 3 damage, plus 1 for each search you perform this turn. Blue Ranger has Astro Axe. Negating attack, the attacker gains 1 stun, then discard this card. Silver Ranger has Super Silverizer. Attack, deal 3 damage. If negated, you may destroy 1 card in any hero's discard pile. Lunar Lance for the Black Ranger. Attack, deal 2 damage. Attack, deal 2 damage. Now, I'm just looking at this. If you had the Black Ranger out, plus his signature weapon, plus his Zord, that's 7 attacks you could do for 1 to 2 damage each. If you can somehow activate all their abilities at the same time. That's crazy. Star Slinger, for the Yellow Ranger, attack, deal 3 damage if negated, draw a card. And the Pink Ranger's Satellite Stunner, attack, deal 2 damage if you have plus 20 HP, target foe gains 1 stun. Yeah, all these gaining energy ones are really cool. And then we have the villains. We have Estrama's Wrath Staff. Attack, put 1 Conquest token on Dark Spector. If they are now 6+, discard this card. Ecliptor's Sword. Steal 1 energy for every 4 energy the heroes have. Yeah, that could definitely hurt. Especially when you have limited amount of energy. We have Darkonda's Sword, for Darkonda, of course. You deal 2 damage, plus 1 for each Conquest token on Dark Spector. Psycho Rangers get their monster forms, so they turn into like various elementally themed monsters, or kind of elemental. Your attacks this turn deal 1 damage for each 2 Conquest tokens on Dark Spector. Now, they almost could have made like a separate set of big game, large characters for just the Psycho Rangers with their own unique thing. So I know they did that with Heroes of the Grid Power Rangers, but they didn't do that for this. It's kind of interesting. I think maybe because they wanted to focus on some of the other characters that got missed, like Zed and some of those guys. But that could definitely be something they could add on in the future. Like, granted, there's like 20 seasons, so it's like, so far each box has been, expansion has been 1 season. So I don't know if they're going to come back around to any of the other stuff, because that's sort of what they did with Power Rangers, is the Heroes of the Grid, the miniature card game, is they spent a lot of time in the Mighty Morphin era. They kept going back and pulling guys from there, because there's a lot of content. So this seems like they're kind of just moving forward, like each set at a time. So with except for Omega, they've almost kind of went in order. They skipped Turbo, I guess, because they went Ranger Zero then In Space, but they did RPM, but they skipped Turbo. Yeah, but it'd be kind of cool if they like at some point maybe redid an expansion which had just the Psycho Rangers. Might be kind of a neat idea. Or maybe if they did an alternative, yeah, just something like that. Like, hey, here's that, or maybe like do like one of those, maybe then go like another set where like, the Rangers are all, maybe bad guys that turn into good guys. It's kind of like the opposite thing. Like just like a mix match set from different seasons. That'd be kind of cool. Yeah, that'd be kind of neat to do. Then we have Arrogance for the United Alliance of Evil. That's kind of neat, that Master Vile in there. As you got on that side. Gain 1 villain from the grid or the main deck. Discard pile, then attack. Deal damage equal to its cost. If negated, you take 2 damage. Alright, then the last thing we have for the base game here, or the base expansion, I guess, are the Zords. So we have the Mega Astro Ship, which costs 2 Zords. Ready all attack Zords, then attack, deal 3 damage. Attack if there are 5 Conquest tokens on Dark Spector, remove 1 of them. And then if we have all 5 Zords, we can get the Mega Voyager. Ready all attack Zords, then attack, deal 3 damage. And attack, remove 1 Conquest from the Dark Spector. So this is kind of where they get the mode where it's like, if you want to play that, you're really going to want to have these Zords out to remove all these things. But at least there's some way to do it. It's just kind of later in the game. Then we can also flip that one over if we have all 6, which requires the Mega Winger. The Winged Mega Voyager. Ready all attack Zords and remove 1 Conquest token from Dark Spector. Then attack and deal 4 damage. So this lets you remove it and do the attack versus the other ones, which are the option to either do damage or to remove a counter, which sometimes you might just have to remove them counters. But it's nice at least there's some way to do it outside of just having to buy locations. There is another way to remove counters. Alright, so that was Flying Higher. So in space. So yeah, you're looking for that. That search mechanic is really fun. Adds some new elements to the game. It'd be fun to see how well it works with other expansions, something you could add in there. Kind of like the same way RPM added tokens. They let you generate extra energy to use for stuff, do extra damage. It's something you could easily mix and match into different sets. You could use all the different expansion rules at the same time. Just right now, there's like, with 3 or 4 different expansions, if you're trying to use all the different rules, it's gonna start getting a little too much. Now imagine like there's 7, 8 expansions deep. And every game adds one new mechanic. Now you have 8 new mechanics to try and remember every time. Might be a little frustrating. Alright, then we're going to take a quick look at our bonus pack number 3. So now this is the fifth version for the set for the Power Your Deck building. It's only the 3rd one because the first 2 expansions, Zeo and the Mighty Morphin, the 2 base games, each came with extra character and extra little special cards. Then from then on, they just started doing these bonus packs, which are foil versions of the cards. Now, I wish they would have kept doing like Transformers has been doing, where they are releasing extra characters, even if it's like 4 extra cards, like 2 extra oversized characters, who's 1 good, 1 bad, then like two extra cards that go in the deck, whether, and the G.I. Joes have been doing the same thing, extra character cards, and like, they also been making little buildable things, but that's besides the point there. Those are kind of neat, but I could go without them. But I wish Power Rangers was adding extra content to the game as well, versus just foil cards. I'm not really sure why they don't. Maybe because they're not sure they could pull out without breaking up the teams. That might be more of the issue, because, do you pull only 6 Rangers in these bonus packs, and people are going to be mad you can't get 6 Rangers easily? Not sure. Yeah, so that could just be the reason there. But anyhow, let's look at our foily cards. So we're just going to go through these quick, because they're the same as all the rest of them. But yeah, they're just foil versions. They're not bad. Like, you like playing with them, you can play them. Now, again, the only downside is, I can now get foil versions for the Space Rangers, for the Omega Rangers, and for the RPM Rangers, but they don't have them for the Zeo or Mighty Morphin. So at this point, I almost hope they just release 2 extra bonus packs, or a big bonus pack with all them cards. So at least I'd have the option of playing foil cards for every card in my set. Like, if I'm going to use them, I would like to be able to use all of them. Foil is definitely not bad. You can still read all the text on it very well. And they do highlight on the characters alright, but it's overall just a big, for the most part, just a big glossy foil. So if you like these, cool. If you don't, like, I pre-order, so I'm going to get these anyhow. But if I hadn't pre-ordered them, I probably wouldn't buy these separate. I'm not necessarily worried about getting foil versions of all the cards. The other different thing one of the Renegade games does for pre-order bonuses is the My Little Pony sets, which when you pre-order theirs, or other bonus packs you can pick up are little meeples that replace the standees. And honestly, I wouldn't be against getting meeple versions of the Rangers or the villains, although I kind of get why they don't. Because in that game, you're moving around a little board, kind of like the Transformers ones. It'd be kind of neat to even get little meeple versions for the Transformer ones for that reason. But I can even see getting it for this, even though they wouldn't do me anything. They wouldn't do anything for me in the game. But if I could be like, I'm playing this guy, I could have a little version of my character just sitting on the thing, even if it's, like, not much bigger than one of these tokens. I think, like, the meeples are probably, just maybe, like, 1.5 of these. But they have a little screen printed on the side. I would almost be fine with that. That'd be kind of cool. just because we kind of need to have them out there. But that's just, here or there. Alright, so that's what we got for this. If you guys enjoyed it, check out the other Power Ranger sets. Check out the other deck buildings, G.I. Joes, Transformers, My Little Ponies. I check out those other Renegade games or any other video on my channel. See you guys later. Bye.